A letter to my younger self. My sweet, darling girl, I love you with all of me. You are so precious, beautiful, innocent, and sacred. I know that sometimes life can feel like it's too much to handle, but you are strong, resilient, and brave. I want you to know that you are enough, that you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You are worthy just as you are. Embrace every part of yourself because that is what makes you divine. Your gifts, your quirks, your imperfections, all the things that light you up. I love you so much. I'm always with you, cheering you on, protecting you, guiding you. Love, your older self.
Healing our inner child is probably the most important thing we can do for ourselves. It's absolutely fundamental to our personal, emotional, and psychological development. And in my own experience, after spending the last 7 years dedicated to my healing journey and trying to heal from complex PTSD, healing my inner child was the focus of a lot of the work that I was doing. And in my experience with working with clients one-on-one in facilitating breathwork and healing sessions, and we start to talk about their background as well as the challenges that they're facing in their lives, it becomes very obvious very early on that the challenges that they're facing in life are directly related to the experiences that they had in their childhood. Every single one of us possesses an inner child. It is a child that lives on within us regardless of how old we are. It is a part of our subconscious mind that stores all of our memories and experiences from childhood. Our inner child represents the most innocent, sensitive, and vulnerable parts of us. It is the source of our joy, our wonder, and our creativity, but they also carry within us wounding and unresolved hurts from our childhood. No matter how idyllic your childhood was, many of us oftentimes weren't loved in the exact way that we needed as children. And oftentimes, many of us experience difficult childhoods, abuse, and trauma. I know that was the case for me. And so when we have these experiences in our childhood when we weren't loved and treated the way that we needed as children, this creates wounding in our psyche. And we carry within us these wounded inner children that sit in the driver's seat of our lives, acting out and perhaps sabotaging our lives in ways we aren't necessarily consciously aware of. This can manifest in many destructive behaviors such as codependency, addiction, depression, anxiety, acting out, emotional instability, and so forth. So connecting with and healing our inner children is radical work and can dramatically change our lives for the better. I know that was the case for myself. When we address the unmet needs from our childhood, as well as grieve the pain from our past, this allows us to step up as our empowered adult selves. We feel so much more whole, complete, and confident within ourselves. We feel less triggered. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 practices and exercises that can really help you connect with and heal your inner child. And these practices are really sacred to me because I've been doing them for many, many years, and I've really seen how much they've helped me improve my life and really heal my inner child. If you're new to inner child work, I recommend starting off by simply reflecting on your childhood experiences. For those of us who had difficult or perhaps even traumatic childhoods, like myself, you may feel rather disconnected from your childhood memories. That's why it's so important to start to unravel and unpack the experiences of your childhood. What were you like as a child? What was your relationship like with your mother and your father? What was your environment like growing up? I'm going to link a series of journal prompts in the description of this video that can help you connect with the experiences of your childhood and to start to reflect on the events of your childhood. Another great practice that I recommend for those who are starting off with inner child work are inner child meditations. And you can find a lot of them on YouTube or Spotify, but it's a great way to start to connect with your childhood experiences and your inner child. And these meditations often allow us to access a deeper part of our psyche and our subconscious that we can't easily access in our normal conscious experience. Another really simple but powerful practice that I really like to do when I was just starting to connect with my inner child was to look at photos of myself as a child. And whenever I looked at these photographs, it would bring up a lot of different emotions and memories to the surface for me to process and to heal. And the more that I would connect with the child who was in the photographs, the more that I felt connected to my inner child. She no longer felt like a distant memory. She felt very much alive within me. So I recommend maybe carrying around a photo of yourself as a child, or making it the screensaver of your phone or your laptop so that you can stay consistently connected with your inner child. A really important part of healing our inner child is grieving. It is grieving the experiences that caused us hurt and harm as children. It is grieving the love, care, and attention that we did not experience as children. It is grieving the childhoods that we longed for but did not get to experience. And perhaps it is a grieving of the loss of innocence. John Bradshaw, who was one of the leading educators on inner child work, talked a lot about original pain work. And original pain work is the process of allowing ourselves to process all of the old emotions and experiences of our childhood. Most of us were not given permission to experience negative emotions, such as anger, sadness, grief, or frustration. And so what happens is that this energy becomes stuck within our bodies. And it doesn't necessarily go away as we get older. It is something that we carry in our bodies well into our adulthoods. But this energy wants to complete itself. It wants to be resolved. And so when that energy isn't resolved in the form of allowing ourselves to fully process that emotion in the form of catharsis and perhaps tears, it becomes energy that manifests as abnormal and perhaps self-destructive behavior. And so these behaviors can look like anything ranging from emotional reactivity, maybe you feel really triggered in your romantic relationships, to people-pleasing, lacking self-discipline, or even more serious situations such as codependency and addiction. So it's really important that we allow ourselves as empowered adults that we are now to properly grieve all of the emotions that we're carrying from the past. And so I recommend, as you start to connect with your inner child, really allow yourself to embrace whatever emotions come up for you, especially the difficult ones of anger, sadness, and grief. This may be the first time in your life that your inner child is given full permission to fully express themselves and to grieve whatever it is that they're holding on to. And I promise you that this is an extremely important process that you can't sidestep. So the more that you allow yourself to grieve, the more you allow yourself to heal. And I also want to mention that it's quite common for people to maybe minimize or even reject the painful experiences from their past. And what I'll often hear people say is that, my childhood wasn't all that bad. I had a roof over my head, I had 3 meals a day, and I know my parents really tried their best with me. But it's not about that. It's about legitimizing and validating the pain, the very real pain that your inner child felt and is still experiencing in your psyche. And another really helpful exercise is to write a letter to your parents. And I don't recommend sending this letter, but really it's a way for you to start to process all of the emotions that you have around your childhood and towards your parents. All of the pain and perhaps anger that you feel about not having your needs met, about not receiving the love and care and attention that you really long for as a child. And this is a deeply cathartic process that can bring up a lot, so I really encourage you to be gentle with yourself, and you can write this letter as many times as you need. The next set of exercises that I want to share with you are all related to communicating with your inner child. Once you start to connect with your inner child and process old emotions and experiences from the past and really connect with the truth of your inner child's experience, It's really important now to step in as your empowered adult self and to actively communicate and engage with your inner child. So one way you can do that is to write a letter to your inner child. And I've done this dozens and dozens of times. So basically, you're going to write a letter addressed to your inner child, and it can be for a specific age if you want. And in this letter, I want you to really assure your inner child that you are here for them, that you're here now at whatever age you are now, as this really empowered adult that you are, that you're stepping in to love them, protect them, support them, and guide them. In this letter, I want you to validate their experiences, validate whatever pain they're feeling, whatever hurt that they experience as children. And I want you to promise them that you're always going to be there for them no matter what going forward, that no matter what happened in the past, that you're here now as this adult you, and you're always going to be by their side. And this is such a cathartic process. I know it was for me. And I wrote this letter so many times, even in the moments when I didn't necessarily feel very empowered. But it was a really important process for me to just assure my inner child that she was safe and that she was not alone. And that made a world of difference for me. It really helped me feel so much safer as the adult that I am now, and so much more empowered and confident to know that I'm no longer looking for someone to save me, that I'm here to save myself and my little girl. Another great way to connect with and communicate with your inner child is through visualization. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine that you're sitting across from your child self. And I want you to look into their eyes and really connect with them and just identify how old they are and what they look like. And then you can ask them a series of questions. How are you, little one? How are you feeling today? How old are you in this moment? And what can I do for you now? And this is a simple practice that you can do anytime throughout your day. And I especially like to do this whenever I feel a little bit off or emotionally reactive. I'll check in with my inner child and give her that love and attention that she's looking for. And then she starts to feel a lot more safe and relaxed, and I feel a lot more empowered as an adult. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to play? When was the last time you expressed yourself creatively without scrutinizing the end result? When was the last time you really lived from the present moment? These are core desires of children and core desires of our inner children. So a way to heal our inner child is to really pursue our joy, our creativity, our expression, and our playfulness. And for me, what that looks like is dance. I love to dance, and when I dance, I give myself permission to dance without judging myself or trying to look a certain way, and really allow my inner child to come through, and my expression to come through, and my joy to come through. And for you, it may be dance or art or playing outside or being out in nature. So I really encourage you to connect with activities that brought you a lot of joy as a child and start to introduce them into your life now. And the more that we connect with our joy, our playfulness, our expression, the more we heal our inner children. And the last practice that I'll share with you today is to give your inner child what they want. Oftentimes as children, our needs and wants are not met. And maybe when we express them, it's met with anger or shaming. And so we learn as children that maybe we don't have the right to have needs and desires, and we need to stifle this part of us. Part of this healing and recovery work is to really legitimize and honor the needs and wants of your inner child. So the next time you check in with your inner child, ask them, what is it that they need or want? And maybe it's something that you can give them. Whenever I checked in with my inner child, I would ask her very explicitly, is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything that you need from me? And oftentimes it was just going outside to play, going to the park, eating an ice cream cone. And if I could give it to her at that moment, I would. And if I couldn't, I promised to give it to her at a later time. When we stop listening to our innermost needs and desires, our life energy also gets stifled. And a way that we react to that is we cope with substitute behaviors. So for instance, if you're working a job all day long, doing something you dislike, you might come home and just plop yourself in front of the TV or eat a bunch of junk food. And that's a way to cope from the stress of not only a long workday, but not giving yourself what you need, which is fulfillment and purpose and play. So I recommend keeping a wish list. And on this list, write down all of your desires. And it can range from something your inner child wants, such as more play or time out in nature, or maybe it's really fulfilling work, or really meaningful connections, and really give yourself permission to want without judgment and without limiting yourself. Alright, so that brings me to the end of this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I just want to commend you for your interest and commitment to healing your inner child. I know that this can be very delicate and complex work, but I assure you it's probably the most important thing we can do for ourselves. Again, don't forget to check out the link to a series of journal prompts in the description of this video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.